All right, everybody, welcome back to Lean and Defined. This is Mozzie, an ASM certified personal trainer. So I was actually trying to film on the beach today, but the tide was like super high. I could not find a place. And I am actually right by the pier here in Benicia, California. Um, and water is like practically right behind me. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. So the topic today has to do with progressive overload, and it's kind of a controversial thing, but my argument is no to progressive overload, and not entirely. That's a little bit of an exaggeration, but the idea is that progressive overload, um, on a consistent basis, where you're constantly increasing the weight that you're lifting. Um, is not necessarily conducive to a lean look, a lean defined look. If that's what you're going for, and that's the point behind this channel, is for a more toned or athletic or just that like kind of lean muscular body. You don't really need to do progressive overload. I mean, you can do, adjusting your weights up here and there, but I would argue that it's actually much more simple than that. I'm going to go ahead and get started. So, consistently doing progressive overload, consistently increasing your weights and reps and all of that, over time is going to result in a bigger, bulkier type of look. And that's much of what my argument is against it. Is over time you're just going to get bigger and bulkier. And so, if you want that more lean look, you don't necessarily have to go that route. I do think if you lift pretty consistently, you will build muscle and eventually kind of get where you want. And once you get there, you can just kind of maintain things and just keep up doing some weight training and some cardio. So I don't think it needs to be complicated like that. Um, um, Once you get where you want to go, what you can do is kind of just stabilize your weights or even slightly reduce them. Maybe just lift that once or twice a week, whatever number allows you to maintain your results. My suggestion is that once or twice a week. I do usually twice a week of weight training. Sometimes if I feel like I've gained more muscle than I want and I'm trying to dial back the muscle a little bit, I'll cut it back to 1 day a week and just like, instead of that lifting day, just do cardio, just like do some kind of cardio or just get a lot of steps in that day. Something that'll dial the muscle back. Believe it or not, maybe I'm one of the only people in the on YouTube Fitness telling people how to lose muscle right now. So, uh, and that's what's kind of funny to me with the more recent video topics that are very channel specific, is when I catch myself telling people how to lose muscle. It is kind of a funny situation, but I think there's validity to this, and I think people who are actually athletes may be familiar with this. People who, like high school wrestlers, who actually have to make weight, for example. So there's instances where like just gaining muscle is actually not to your benefit. If you're a distance runner, if you're maybe in some ways a swimmer who's not on steroids, like actually like keeping your weight in check is probably to your advantage. And I'm pretty sure that's the case in a lot of like more endurance related sports. Um, so my third point is regular lifters in the gym will not understand this. They will tell you to keep lifting heavier, keep getting bigger. They just won't understand. Like, you could try to explain it to them, but they probably won't get it. But that's okay. You just do your own thing. Like, I don't go in and tell the other guy, oh, okay, well, I'm a trainer and I do tell other people what to do sometimes, but that's that's part of my job. So, but a lot of people won't understand, and they don't have to. Just kind of do your own thing. Don't feel like people have to understand what you're trying to do, and as long as as long as you feel good about the direction you're going into, I wouldn't really the direction you're going in. I wouldn't really worry about what what the regular gym goers um, think. And like something that I've actually like personally noticed is that a lot of times like people who lift regularly, um, they think you always have to get bigger. Like they won't understand the idea of actually trying to maintain size, or even if somebody is happy with where they are, they won't understand that. There's always this idea that you have to grow. Like growth is always, or you know, so you can try to explain to people, but they may not understand. My next point, point number 4, is be careful who you take advice from. I mean, sometimes people, like I would take a, like think about the, like when it comes to the gym, like maybe think about who you're getting the advice from. If you're a girl and you're 125 pounds and your goal is to get to 115 pounds or stay where you are, taking advice from a 200 plus pound heavy weight trainer it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And believe it or not, this kind of stuff happens, And I'm not saying it to it's just everybody gives advice based on what they think is right, but sometimes that advice isn't correct for that person. So I think that's, and vice versa. If a 200 plus pound weight like weightlifter is probably not going to go and ask a 120-pound girl how to bulk up. Like it just doesn't make sense, right? So why would the opposite make sense? So unless you really feel like, the caveat that I can think of right now is like, unless you feel like they are actually giving you sound advice based on what you're after, like sometimes that may be true. Maybe they actually do know, and they're like, and they're giving you sound advice, and that's a totally different case. But oftentimes I feel like that is not what's happening. So in those cases, just think about who you're getting the advice from. Point number 5, and maybe I should have covered this a little bit earlier in the video, but I suggest when you start with a moderate weight, something you can do anywhere from 12 to 20 reps with, and let's say on that last, like towards the end of those reps, you are feeling fatigued. It's not too light. You're starting to feel fatigued towards the end, and just keep doing that for a while. Maybe do that for 4 weeks or 8 weeks or whatever. If you feel like you're getting some muscle growth and you're getting, you feel like you are getting closer to what you want, keep doing that for a little while longer. If not, maybe increase the weight a little bit. Maybe first increase your rep to make sure you're doing around maybe somewhere closer to 20 reps. And then if that's still, or if you're already at 20 reps, then you can increase your weight and go to the next level and do that for a while, somewhere in that 12 to 15 rep range, or 12 to 20 reps, if possible. Do that for a while. If that doesn't work, go up. And yeah, that is progressive overload, but it's not on a continuous basis. At some point, if you're going after the lean and define look, you're gonna gain enough muscle to where you feel happy, and you don't feel like you need to keep gaining in order to get there. And so at that point, it's just maintenance mode. Just keep on training regularly. Keep it up with the cardio. Keep moving. Manage your diet. That part of it can get pretty simple. With also cardio and how cardio fits into this, because I actually think cardio can be a great tool for managing how much muscle you put on. It can actually help you, I think, ultimately limit the amount of muscle that you're adding, so you don't get too big. And it's a tool that I use. Like, it's something when I've been trying to dial back my muscle, like I'll think like, okay, maybe I'm gonna up my cardio for a little while, dial back on the lifting, or lighten the weights that I'm using. And actually, one of my former clients kind of wanted me to cover this idea, but like what if 140 is my ultimate goal, but let's say I add 5 pounds of muscle that I don't want. and I get to 145. Like, what do I do? There's a lot of things that you can do. You can maybe dial back on your protein intake if you're taking in a lot of protein and that managed to result in you gaining more muscle than you wanted. I would say dial back your calories a little bit is another great option. That should be one of the first things you do. You can temporarily dial back the number of days you weight train. So maybe if you're doing 2 days every week or something, or maybe you went over and went to 3, dial back. So if you went to 3, go down to 2. If you went to 2, maybe dial back to 1. Don't completely stop weight training, but I would say dial it back a little bit. And then the another option is to add cardio. Maybe just pick a couple of these things. Maybe cut back on your calories and up your cardio. Or, I mean, if you're extreme, you can do like 3 or 4, like all of them. But I don't want you to go crazy with it. But maybe just dial back a little bit, just enough to get you getting some of that. Getting your weight back down towards where you want it. And I know this from experience. Like, I've done this before. Like, I've been through that whole process, and it's not bad. It's just a matter of kind of tweaking some things. And much of it is like the opposite of what somebody who's trying to bulk up would do. Bulking up, they're like, okay, we're going to up our calories. We're going to dial back on cardio. Maybe no cardio. We're going to up our protein, and we're going to lift maybe more days, right? And this is like pretty much, if you just think of those like 4 things I just said, it's pretty much the opposite of that. Dial back on the protein, dial back on the lifting, dial back on the calories. So it's just like, you're just doing the opposite of what a bulk would do. And again, this is I think good information for people to do. Once you become an experienced lifter, it actually, you may have points where it's hard for you to keep your weight from going up. So it's good to have information so that you're able to better maintain where you're at over time. And that's why I also think like regular check-ins, like whether it's taking a picture every now and then to kind of see how your body looks, or maybe just weighing in as a way, or just getting your own measurements from time to time is a good way to kind of just see if you're maintaining where you want to go. One of the great things is that, and this is my final point, and it's kind of related to what I was just talking about, point number 7. But the idea is that when it comes to that, the lean and defined body that I've been talking about, a lot of times it's just it's just a few pounds here and there, maybe 5 pounds this way, that way, and I would encourage you to kind of find that 5-pound range that works for you. But let's say you have your ideal weight of 140, and you're maybe you have a 5-pound range that works for you, 138 to 143, or you have an ideal weight. But the idea is you may move a little bit this way and gain more muscle than you wanted, and then you try to dial it back. But ideally, if you're following my advice, once you kind of get to where you want to go, the fluctuations are slight, and you're able to dial it back as needed by just adjusting things like calories and cardio and how heavy you're lifting and how many days you're lifting and things like that. So that way you can manage it better by kind of just monitoring how you're going with these things. And that's mainly what I wanted to cover today. I hope this gives you a good idea. And I don't want this channel to be something where it's closed off to people who, let's say there's people, and that are here really just to lose weight. And the same principles apply. Like if somebody has a lot of weight to lose, and they're trying to shrink down, oftentimes, like somebody who has a lot of weight to lose, oftentimes they are actually trying to get physically smaller, not just replace all that fat with muscle. So I would say, you do want to gain some muscle, but I would say if you want a leaner look in the long run, Like, don't lift super heavy, lift consistently, and get the calorie deficit and everything in check. Like make sure you're getting a calorie deficit so you can lose the body fat. But otherwise, like the same kind of advice would be like, don't gain too much muscle, because you don't want to ultimately get a bigger, bulkier look. That's not what you want to get. I'm assuming in that case. I mean, you're on the Lean and Define channel, so I'm just gonna assume that. So, yeah. So I say, like, just, it's like the same general kind of advice, and I think you want to just keep getting smaller, but build some muscle in the process. And I think ultimately you'll look better. But that was one of the points, is like, I didn't want this channel to like alienate people, that for where people think this channel is just for people who want to look like models and be endurance athletes and everything like that. It's and almost any advice that I give on this channel can pretty much be used for anybody who's trying to lose weight and look better. It's really, I wanted this to be kind of a catch-all for either people who either already are lean or on the cusp of being that lean person, but all the way to people who are really just trying to lose weight and may have significant weight loss ahead of them. And so for those people, I don't want you to think I've forgotten about you on this channel. And it is starting to get dark, so with all that said, this is Mozzie here at Lean and Defined. Take care and stay active.